Nearly 24 world leaders are in Kuala Lumpur for this year's ASEAN Summit, a three-day diplomatic marathon bringing together some of the biggest names in global politics. On the agenda, a long-running border dispute, an ambitious economic battle over rare earths and tariffs, and a civil war that one of its own members can't seem to escape. This is ASEAN 2025, and here's what's really at stake. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, is a 10-member bloc that includes countries from Brunei to Vietnam, home to more than 678 million people and a combined GDP of nearly $4 trillion. This year, the group expands, welcoming its 11th member, East Timor, 2 decades after it gained independence from Indonesia. Every leader is attending except for Myanmar's military chief, whose country remains trapped in civil conflict. But ASEAN doesn't meet alone. Running alongside it is the East Asia Summit, where heavyweights like the United States, China, Japan, India, Russia, South Korea, Australia, and New Zealand join the table. This year's lineup includes US President Donald Trump, China's Premier Li Qiang, Australia's Anthony Albanese, Japan's new Prime Minister Sonai Takeichi, South Korea's Lee Jae-myung, and New Zealand's Christopher Luxon. Also in town are Brazil's Lula da Silva, Canada's Mark Carney, and South Africa's Cyril Ramaphosa, plus global institutions from the World Bank to FIFA, drawn by the scale of this year's agenda. Among the first items on that agenda, a long-awaited peace pact between Cambodia and Thailand. The two neighbors signed an agreement ending months of deadly clashes along their border. The deal was presided over by President Trump and Malaysia's Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. A ceasefire reached in July had already stopped the fighting, but with dozens killed and thousands displaced, skeptics question whether this new signing will bring real peace or simply serve as a political photo op. While the cameras flash at the peace ceremony, most leaders will have their eyes on another issue: trade. Trump's so-called Liberation Day tariffs, imposed in April, have rattled global markets. Most ASEAN countries now face tariffs of 10 to 20%, with Brunei hit hardest at 25%. For Laos and Myanmar, the rate soars to 40%. The move was meant to cut America's trade deficit, but it strained ties across Asia and prompted China to retaliate by tightening exports of rare earth minerals, materials vital to the tech industry. According to ASEAN analysts, almost every delegation in Kuala Lumpur is trying to secure a sideline meeting with Trump, hoping to bargain down tariffs or carve out exemptions. For ASEAN, it's a test of diplomatic agility. Can the bloc act collectively, or will each member strike its own deal with Washington? One country missing from all this diplomacy is Myanmar. Its military leadership was barred from attending, and it will not assume next year's ASEAN chair, a role now passing to the Philippines. The decision follows 4 years of civil war since the 2021 coup, and the bloc's failed attempt at peace through a 5-point consensus that called for a ceasefire and humanitarian aid. Critics say ASEAN's inaction has allowed the conflict to spiral, fueling the trade in weapons and narcotics while forcing refugees into neighboring countries. Those frustrations tie into ASEAN's deeper problem: it has no real enforcement mechanism. Unlike the European Union, ASEAN can't compel members to follow its decisions. Its founding principle, national sovereignty above all, still defines it today. Analysts say that legacy, born out of post-colonial independence in 1967, remains both its strength and its weakness. It allows flexibility, but limits unity. Over the next 3 days, ASEAN leaders will sign agreements, pose for handshakes, and issue communiques. But behind the diplomacy lie bigger questions about trade wars, contested borders, and a fractured region struggling to speak with one voice. ASEAN has never been about grand gestures or sweeping reforms. It's about balance between independence and cooperation, sovereignty and shared interest. Whether that balance can still hold in an era of tariffs, wars, and shifting alliances, that's the real story unfolding in Kuala Lumpur.